Let's talk about the unsung heroes of your supply chain, EDI Communication Protocols. They are the digital highways all your business data travels on. And trust me, choosing the right one can be the difference between a super smooth operation and a massive headache. Let's dive in.
So, does this look familiar? A new trading partner sends over the requirements, and it's just a sea of acronyms: AS2, SFTP, OFTP 2.0. They might all sound kind of the same, but they actually operate on completely different principles. It can feel really overwhelming, I get it. But by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what each one means and, more importantly, why it matters to you.
And this really hits the nail on the head. You see, each protocol is a different tool for a different job. And if you choose the wrong one, or you can't support the one your partner needs, you could be looking at failed transactions, compliance fines, or even critical security vulnerabilities. Nobody wants that.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute fundamentals, the rules that govern all of these protocols. Then, we'll talk about the one piece of infrastructure that can make your life a whole lot easier, the VAN. From there, we'll take a tour through every major protocol family, from the old school originals to the cutting edge, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple framework to help you make the right call for your business.
Okay, first things first. Before we can even start comparing all these different protocols, we need to get on the same page about what they're all actually trying to do. Establishing the ground rules. Getting this foundation right is the key to making sense of everything else that follows. So here it is. Every single one of these protocols, no matter how old or new, has three fundamental jobs. First, it has to actually transmit the data. That's the transport mechanism. Second, it has to authenticate identity, basically proving that you are who you say you are, and so is your partner. And third, it absolutely must secure that data while it's in transit, usually with encryption, to keep it safe from prying eyes.
Now, lean in for a second, because this is probably the single most important rule you need to understand. If you are connecting directly to a trading partner, you both have to use the exact same protocol. End of story. It's like trying to plug a European power cord into an American outlet. The power is there, but the connection just won't work. But there is a very powerful exception to this rule.
And that exception is called a value-added network, or a VAN. Just think of a VAN as this third-party service that sits right in the middle of all your connections. It basically acts like a universal translator. You can send your data to the VAN using your favorite protocol, and the VAN handles the tricky part of delivering it to your partner in their favorite protocol.
The history of these protocols really tells a story of progress. It's this journey from really basic, totally insecure file transfers back in the 70s with FTP to the rise of super secure, reliable internet protocols like AS2 in the 2000s, all the way to today where we're talking about real-time integration with web apps using things like REST APIs. Every step forward brought more security, more reliability, and tighter integration.
So let's zoom in on that VAN for a second. We're covering this part first because, honestly, understanding what a VAN does really puts all the other decisions into context. For a lot of businesses, using a VAN isn't just an option, it's the absolute core of their entire EDI strategy.
So why are VANs so popular? Well, it's because they solve a whole bunch of problems all at once. You get top-tier security and reliability without having to build and manage all that infrastructure yourself. If you're a business with a ton of trading partners, it's often way more cost-effective than trying to maintain dozens of separate direct connections. And partner onboarding becomes so much simpler. You connect to the VAN once, and they handle everything else. Plus, you get these great value-added services like data mapping and validation.
Okay, let's kick off our tour of the protocols themselves, and we're starting with the pioneers, the FTP family. These protocols are basically the foundation that almost all modern file transfer is built on. And believe it or not, even though they're old, they're still used all over the place today.
The story of FTP is really all about adding security. The original FTP from the 70s? Simple, but completely insecure. It sends everything in plain text. Not good. So to fix that, they created FTS, which wraps the whole connection in SSL/TLS encryption. That's the same tech that puts the S in HTTPS on secure websites. Then there's SFTP. Now, people mix these up all the time, but SFTP is a totally different protocol. It's built on SSH, which stands for Secure Shell. Its main advantage? It's usually much easier to get through firewalls because it only uses a single port for everything.
All right, now we're moving into the heavy hitters. These are the protocols that were designed from the ground up for serious, reliable, and auditable business-to-business communication. You can think of these as the workhorses of modern enterprise EDI.
The Applicability Statement, or AS series, are all standards for sending secure data over Internet protocols you already know. AS1, it uses email. AS2, which is by far the most popular one today, uses the web via HTTP. It's huge in retail, mainly because giants like Walmart required it early on, which created this massive network effect. AS3 does the same thing but for FTP, and AS4 is built for modern web services. The key takeaway here is that each one uses a different transport layer, but they're all trying to achieve the same goal: secure, verifiable B2B messaging.
Beyond the AS family, you've got these specialized protocols. OFTP and its newer version, OFTP 2.0, are absolute titans in the automotive industry. They are built for extreme reliability, handling huge files, and even letting you restart a transfer if the connection drops. Super robust. On the other side, you have something like EBMS, which is a really flexible, XML-based standard that's designed to work well across a whole bunch of different systems and industries.
Okay, our final group of protocols brings us right into the modern era. This is where we start moving beyond just simple file transfers and get into real-time integration, web accessibility, and of course, the power of the cloud. This new wave is really changing how we think about EDI. A REST API isn't really a file transfer protocol in the old sense. It's a way for applications to talk to each other directly, in real time. It's fantastic for e-commerce, where you need instant inventory updates. Then you have Cloud or Web EDI, which gets rid of the whole infrastructure headache. You just log into a web portal. This is a total game changer for smaller businesses that need to get EDI compliant fast without a huge investment. And finally, mobile EDI is starting to pop up for low-volume, on-the-go access right from your phone.
Phew! So we've toured over a dozen different protocols and methods, from the 1970s all the way to today. Now, let's bring it all home. How do you actually choose? Well, we've put together a simple framework to help you make sense of all your options.
Here's a quick guide to help you figure this out. If maximum security is your #1 priority, you're going to be looking at AS2 and SFTP. If you're dealing with tons of partners who all have different requirements, Avan is the clear winner. It just handles all that complexity for you. For tight, real-time integration with modern web apps, nothing beats a REST API. And if you just need to get up and running fast, with minimal cost, Cloud or Web EDI is the perfect solution.
And that really brings us to the final critical question. When you look at your current setup and you think about your partner's requirements, are you using protocols that were designed for yesterday's problems? Or are you embracing the security, the flexibility, and the real-time integration that you're going to need for tomorrow? The right choice always depends on your unique business needs. But now you have the knowledge to make that choice with confidence.